Chapter 10: Growth Loops, Content, Referrals, and Community. Funnels pour people in and watch them fall out. Loops bring people in and send them back with friends. A loop is any cycle where the work you do today makes tomorrow easier. You serve one buyer well. That service creates an artifact. The artifact brings the next buyer with less effort. The next buyer creates another artifact. The circle tightens. Your engine begins to pull itself. A loop has 4 parts even when you do not name them. There is a trigger that starts motion. There is an action you or your buyer takes. There is value created that someone can see or touch. There is a path back to the top of the loop where a new person enters because of that value. When the path back is short and honest, the loop spins. When any part is missing, the loop drags and you have a funnel again. Think of a loop as a vineyard, not a vending machine. You plant, you tend, and each season throws seeds for the next season. In a vending machine you stuff coins and hope the snack drops. In a vineyard you accept the rhythm and enjoy that every harvest carries the next one inside it. Begin with your 3 running stories and sketch each loop in words. Use simple sentences so you can hear the rhythm. At the canvas stand the trigger is joy. A person prints a photo in 3 minutes and smiles. The action is a tiny share or a quick wave to a friend who is still on the street. The value is the canvas itself and the feeling of immediacy. The path back is a sign that says 3 minutes and a small card the buyer hands to a friend or a hotel desk. The loop time can be minutes. When you add a tiny thank you with each pickup and ask permission for 1 photo of the canvas in a hand, you create a proof tile. That tile becomes the next trigger online. The loop is now both on the street and on the feed. 1 happy print creates 1 clip. 1 clip pulls 2 new prints on Saturday. Each new print makes the next clip easier. That is a loop with breath. At the 1-page studio, the trigger is launch day. A small business goes from invisible to visible in 72 hours. The action is a short post by the owner and a small case story from you. The value is the real link and the relief that the page exists. The path back is a gallery where every new page sits at the top and a calm message you place in local groups that shows the before and the after. The loop time is a week. The next project walks in because the last one was clear and fast. If you write 2 sentences for the client to paste with their link, you remove friction and increase the chance that their audience sees your work. If you keep a tiny newsletter called Launch This Week and you send it every Friday, past clients forward it to friends quietly. That is the second lane of the loop. At the tiny clinic booking tool, the trigger is a calmer morning. The phones no longer choke from 9 to 11. The action is a simple email that you draft for the clinic to forward to 1 peer saying what changed. The value is fewer frantic calls and a visible schedule that holds. The path back is a demo while the peer is listening to the friend. The loop time is weeks. When you add a welcome checklist that invites the new clinic to record a 60-second clip of the first online booking arriving, you create an artifact you can reuse in the next conversation. The loop grows stronger without shouting. A loop begins with proof. Proof is not a boast. Proof is a tiny window into value. A before photo and an after photo. A line that shows what number changed and when. A 10-second clip that captures motion. Proof lets people see themselves in your work. It also removes work from you because the same tile can be used on your page, in a message, and in a quiet reply to someone who asked if your promise is real. When you are tired, proof does the first half of the job for you. Referrals live inside proof when you make the path easy. A buyer who feels seen and cared for wants to help you. They simply need a sentence and a place to send it. If you hand them a simple forward with kind words, they will press send. If you give them a tiny gift line for the person they send, they will feel proud. The gift can be a faster slot, a small add-on, or a friendly check-in call. It must be honest and small. It must never make the referrer feel like a salesperson. The moment you push, the loop breaks. The moment you honor, the loop turns. Community is where loops keep momentum. A community is not always a forum with long threads. A community can be a monthly email that celebrates wins from buyers. It can be a private chat where you drop 1 helpful tip each week. It can be a 10-minute live session where you answer 1 question on Fridays. The purpose is not volume. The purpose is continuity. When people see that others like them are getting value now, the loop receives a slow and steady push. When you are too busy to post, the people you served last week keep posting without you. That is the signal that the loop is becoming real. Design one loop at a time. Write it like a children's story. A person did this. Then we did that. Then they got this. Then their friend saw it here. Then the friend came through this door. Say it aloud. If you stumble, simplify. If you cannot point to the door at the end, choose one door and build a sign. If the loop has no artifact, choose one artifact and make it easy to capture during the moment of joy. If the time from artifact to new person is long, shorten one step. Good loops are small and fast. Large loops that take months do exist, but a young engine needs quick cycles you can see and feel. Content is a loop when it is tied to a moment and a door. If you post generic advice, you fill a feed and starve your engine. If you show a specific moment, you sharpen attention. If you add a clear next step under it, you create a path back to the top. The best content for a small team is a repurposed proof tile. The clip from the stand becomes a short video with a caption that says 3 minutes today. The before and after from the studio becomes a side-by-side image with a line called live in 72 hours, book here. The 60-second demo from the clinic becomes a reel that says add booking today, phones still work as backup, start here. You did the work. Capture it once. Use it 3 times. Let the loop run while you rest. Partners create strong loops when their incentive is written down. A photographer wants their clients to open with a real link that carries their photos. A studio wants photos that land on time. A clinic coach wants their clients to breathe at 9 in the morning. A booking tool makes mornings quieter. Put the pieces together and you have a circle. The photographer introduces you with a line you wrote. You credit them on the page. You send new businesses who need photos back to them with a line you wrote for yourself. You both post in your own channels. You both close with the same booking link. Every launch becomes 2 proof tiles and 2 doors. That is a partner loop. It grows slow and strong when the promises are small and kept. Measure loops with 3 gentle ideas. Count how many new people arrive because of one artifact. Count how long it took for that arrival. Count how much it cost to make the artifact. If one launch story brings 1.5 new inquiries in a week, if the story took 15 minutes to write, and if the cost was only your time, that loop is healthy. If a referral email brings 1 new clinic for every 4 it reaches over 2 weeks, that loop is healthy for a small team. You do not need to memorize fancy ratios. You need to feel whether one good week makes the next week easier. When the answer is yes, you have a loop. Protect loops from spam. Do not flood a group with the same proof 5 times a day. Do not tag people who did not consent. Do not ask buyers to write paragraphs for you. Do not offer money for a referral unless you are in a domain where that is normal and allowed. People can smell force. They reward care and rhythm. If you give your loops a weekly beat, people will register your presence as helpful. If you vanish for a month and then appear with a loud ask, you will feel pushback. Loops love quiet consistency. Scripts make loops easier because the ask becomes a single sentence you can say even when you are tired. Here are 3 sound-ready lines. Thanks for letting us serve you. If you know one friend opening this month, feel free to forward this short note so they can see the 72-hour plan. We printed your canvas in 3 minutes today. If a friend is still out there with a great photo, hand them this little card and they will get the same speed. Your mornings are calmer now. If one peer would enjoy this too, forward this line and I will personally help them install. Loop math is simple in spirit. If every buyer brings even a fraction of a buyer next month, and if you can serve that fraction with the same care, your growth begins to compound. The fraction can be small. 1 in 5 is enough. The time can be short. A week is lovely. The cost can be low. A few minutes to capture and to post is fine. When the fraction, the time, and the cost sit in your favor, you have a flywheel you can push with one finger. Add one finger each quarter and the wheel keeps turning while you take a breath. A loop requires a handoff point. The handoff is a moment you must design, not a moment you hope for. At the stand, the handoff is the pickup. You place the canvas in the buyer's hands. You ask if you may take one quick photo of the canvas alone, and you thank them with a short card. At the studio, the handoff is the login. You deliver the page, you guide them through changing one line, you press publish together, and you capture a small screenshot for your gallery. At the clinic tool, the handoff is the first online booking. You watch the email arrive with them on a video call, you cheer, and you ask if you may quote one sentence. The handoff feels human and sincere. The artifact pops out without stealing time. Community can be a loop by itself when it is formed around practice instead of praise. A practice community gives people something to do each week that moves them forward. It can be a tiny challenge like write your 10-second line today and post it under this thread. It can be a 2-item checklist like fix your map listing and add a booking button and reply done. It can be a simple exchange like post your page and answer one question for someone else. Each action gives value. Each action produces screenshots and stories. Each story fuels the next week. In a practice community, your job is to remove excuses and keep the beat. It takes less energy than chasing new ideas because the form repeats. Loops fail for 4 common reasons. The artifact never happens because the team forgets to capture it. The path back is missing because there is no link or card or sentence for the buyer to use. The ask is awkward because you wait too long and panic. The promise is too big and breaks, so the buyer is silent when you need their voice. The rescue is kind and small. Set your capture points. Write your cards and links. Ask during the moment of joy with one calm line. Keep the promise so tight that buyers want to talk. Tie loops to your numbers so you know they are feeding the engine, not just your mood. When a loop shortens the time from stranger to buyer, your acquisition cost falls and payback shortens. When a loop makes people stay longer or spend again, your lifetime value rises. When a loop lowers support because people know what to expect, your variable costs fall and contribution per unit grows. Loops are not decoration. They are math with a human face. Let us walk 3 full examples to make the sound of a loop clear in your ear. The canvas stand decides to post one 8-second clip daily. The clip shows a photo entering the screen, a finger tapping print, the 3-minute counter, and a hand receiving the canvas. The caption says 3 minutes today and the location. The clip is born from real work, so it does not take extra time. In the stand, a small sign says printed your smile today, share if you like, with a tiny hashtag that has your corner in it. At pickup, you hand a card with the same hashtag and a small thank you. After 2 weeks, the clips begin to pull people who say we saw the 3-minute thing. Tour desk staff start pointing because guests now ask. You bring a cloth for the desk and say thank you by name. The loop is now online and offline. When rain slows traffic, the clips keep the trickle alive. You do not need a viral hit. You need a daily beat that keeps yesterday working for today. The one-page studio runs a Friday gallery called Live This Week. Each entry has a before screenshot, an after screenshot, one sentence from the owner, and the booking link. The post lives on your page and in 2 groups where owners gather. You also send it to a small email list of partners and past clients. After each launch, you provide the owner with a ready post that mentions their opening date and tags your studio only once at the end. They paste it because you made it easy. The next client almost always mentions the gallery. When a month is thin, you add a behind-the-scenes clip that shows a blank template turning into a page in 30 seconds. The loop receives a fresh push. Because your scope is tight and delivery is fast, the artifact is always good. Proof produces trust. Trust produces the next job. The loop spins. The clinic booking tool starts a peer minute every Wednesday. The format is the same each week. One clinic spends 60 seconds saying what changed this month. They mention fewer calls or fewer no-shows or faster intake. You record it on a short call and you publish it in a private group. At the end of each clip, you say one line and paste the install link. New clinics watch because the clip is short and comes from a real peer. The install takes an afternoon. The next week, another clinic records their minute. Over time, the group becomes a shelf of lived proof. When a manager has a hard day, they scroll the shelf and try one tip. Churn softens. When a manager loves a clip, they forward it to a peer. Acquisition cost softens. The loop is serving both sides of the engine. You can speed a loop by shrinking the time between success and story. Build this into your delivery. In the studio, you schedule your final call for a morning and you publish the page before lunch so you can post the gallery by afternoon. In the clinic tool, you book your install for a Tuesday and schedule the minute for Wednesday while the feeling is fresh. At the stand, you encourage buyers to pick up while the street is alive and you post the clip before the day ends. The same work produces a stronger loop because the moment is still warm. Principles for timing and tone will keep your loops friendly to the people who choose you. Ask during joy and never during pain. Thank more than you ask. Give a tiny gift that feels human and not transactional. Keep the same weekly beat so people know when to expect you. Tell the truth about what changed and show it directly. Remove names or blur faces when people do not wish to be shown. Keep your list of places where your proof belongs, and never post where your buyers would feel exposed. When in doubt, choose the quieter option. Loops grow slower than noise, but they grow deeper and they last. As your loops mature, write a one-page plan that lives next to your canvas. At the top, write the loop name. Below it, write the capture point. Then write the sentence you or your buyer will say. Then write the 2 places you will post. Then write the day and time you will keep. Finally, write the link or door back to the top. Read the page every Monday. When life becomes loud, this page will pull you back to the work that composes itself. 1 loop is enough to begin. 2 loops are healthy for a small team. 3 loops are a garden. Do not plant 10. Choose the loop that feels natural to your way of serving. If you love short videos, lean there. If you enjoy writing 2 simple lines at the end of the day, lean there. If you like talking to people live, lean into a weekly call. The best loop is the one you will keep when you are tired. There is a small number that tells you whether a loop is multiplying your effort. Imagine that each buyer brings a fraction of a buyer next period. If the fraction is 0.2, 5 buyers bring 1 new buyer. If the time between the 2 is short, your growth begins to bend upward with very little spend. Do not chase a perfect fraction. Chase a good fraction that you can honor. If you push for 1-to-1 and your service cannot support the speed, the loop will burn out and your name will dim. Finally, remember that a loop is a promise you make to your future self. The proof you capture today is the lead you do not have to chase tomorrow. The card you hand today is the conversation you begin tomorrow in the right place with the right tone. The minute you record today is the hour of support you will not need to spend tomorrow because a peer answered the question for you in public. When you feel too busy to capture or to post, hear this gentle line. If I do this once now, it will work for me all week. Then do the smallest version. 1 photo. 1 sentence. 1 link. The loop does the rest. In the next chapter, we will move from loops to the levers that live above them. We will look at pricing, scope, and brand from the altitude of systems. We will keep the same calm style. We will choose 1 lever each week. We will keep the vineyard healthy while we enjoy the fruit.